Star 106.5 FM, Nassau, Bahamas. It's time for Your Lane with Coach Trish Hanna.
Yeah, time to empower, educate, and encourage your women to go to radio through. Whatever you've been going through, we can talk about it. We ain't got for no judgment. So don't be ashamed, it's all the same. Stay in your lane. Your lane. It's whatever your real looks like. Stay in your lane. Come on the clock and don't be ashamed. Your lane. Let's have a conversation. What we face every day. Tune into your lane talk show. It makes us feel good just to know we're not alone. No more will be less isolated and cast aside. I want you to come up and talk. Just don't be afraid of your heart. So don't be ashamed. It's all the same. Stay in your lane. Your lane. It's whatever your real life looks like. Stay in your lane. Come on, the talk and don't be ashamed. Your lane. Let's have a conversation. What we face every day. Starting some show with Coach Trish.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everyone to Your Lane Talk Show with your coach Trish Hanna. I am so glad to be in your presence on this beautiful Sunday. It's 91 degrees today. It's not as hot as everyone presume or assume it to be because, especially for those who stay in air condition like me, it's like I have no reason to come outside. I only came outside today, of course, for church and um and even in that was air conditioned head in there, going out the car, coming back out, coming back in. And that was about it. Air conditioned straight through. All right. Now, for those who may not have that, that's okay. You may get some really good fans with 2 or 3 and put it in your house like a beat. And you make it happen. You got to do what you got to do. And stay hydrated. That's important. Staying hydrated is important. Okay. And just happy Sunday to you. Eat your ice cream if you have to, get your slush if you have to, whatever it is that you have to do to keep yourself nice and cool, go ahead and do just that. We're broadcasting live from the beautiful Nassau, Bahamas. Hey, our first time listeners, we want to welcome you to our show. We celebrated 51 years of independence last week. And during the last episode that we had with Apostles Gerald and Yvette Benton, I didn't have an opportunity to wish the Bahamas a happy independence. I want to do that now. Happy Independence, Bahamas. May God continue to bless our beautiful isles. All right. And so Your Lane Talk Show, for those who are listening for the first time, was created to educate, encourage, and empower women of all ages. And we welcome men to listen and tune in, which they do anyway. And so we thank you for our male listeners. So back to last week's show with Apostles Gerald and Yvette Benton. They discussed the trials and turbulences that they have experienced in their marriage. And of course, they both experienced things in their marriage that we can all, at some point in our marriage, that we can resonate with, whether it be, conflict with communication or parenting, etc. There's always something to learn, and there's always something to try to gain from when you have people who've been there and done that for the X amount of years in their marriage. So they were there last week, Sunday, to impart knowledge and insight to us. And the topic for that particular show was an unshakable bond, honoring covenant above contract. I would definitely recommend that you go and tune into that show. It's episode 101. You can find on YouTube. Look up Coach Trish Hanna, episode 101, unshakable bond, honoring covenant above contract. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time. I don't want to prolong the time because there's so much to talk about today. As we find ourselves a little over the midpoint of the year, there is still time, though, to pause, reflect, and evaluate our progress. Are we on track with our goals? Are we living as effectively and intentionally as we planned? at the beginning of this year? Well, today we have a life coach here to share invaluable insights on how we can conduct a mid year review and make the necessary adjustments to live more effectively. I'm excited about it because every one of us need that bit of encouragement every so often. Um, we all need that extra boost to help keep us motivated for the next 5 months that is left within this year. So go ahead and call a friend and let them know that Your Lane Life Coaching is on, and today is the day for their transformation. My transformation, your transformation, our transformation. We are live on the radio, star 106.5 FM dial, channel 976 on cable, and you can watch us live on Facebook on Your Lane Life Coaching Facebook page. All right. Your Lane episode 102, 102. Yeah. Mid-year review on living life effectively is brought to you by the Perfume Bar, John Shoe Store and Accessories, Your Lane Life Coaching, Chef Boyardee Spaghetti, obviously delicious, secretly nutritious, distributed by Asa H. Pritchard. Hellman's Mayonnaise, bring out the best, make taste, not waste, distributed by Asa H. Pritchard. And Libby's Vienna Sausages, distributed by Asa H. Pritchard. Now, for our guest introduction, I'm excited. Woo! Our guest this evening is no stranger to Your Lane. Coach Ricardo Miller was with us before, motivating us under the topic, You Are Going to Get There. And that is episode 35. Very, very powerful motivational talk with him the last time that he was here, and a nice session. Um, so much to glean from that. So of course you can go ahead and look that up as well on YouTube. Episode 35. You are going to get there. Now, Ricardo Miller, our coach Ricardo Miller, was born and raised in the Bahamas and became an American citizen in 2010. He has dedicated 27 years to training and developing leaders in children's ministry and church leadership development. He has collaborated with esteemed Christian leaders such as Dr. Tony Evans. As a certified life coach and CEO of Effective Living LLC, Ricardo, known as Coach Ricardo, shares his expertise through writing with 5 books to his name. Ricardo is a member of the Red Oak Chamber of Commerce and the Waxahachie, I hope I said that right, Waxahachie Rotary Club. He served on the Red Oak Library Advisory Board. He served as school board chairman in the Bahamas and a founding board member at Legacy Preparatory Charter School in Dallas. He serves as a councilman in the city of Red Oak, Texas, and he also is the children's pastor at Pathway of Life Church in Dallas until was Pastor Ricardo. What you doing to me? You're calling me pastor. Ricardo served as the children's pastor at Pathway of Life Church in Dallas until 2019 and currently holds the position of operations and development pastor. Ricardo is married to Karen and they have 2 children, RJ and Grace. I want to welcome Coach Ricardo. Thank you so much for being a part of Your Lane Talk Show today. Again,
thank you so much for having me. Thank you. It's going to be a blast.
listen, it's an honor to have you. But before we even get into it, I love it when my guests mention that they are married and they honor and they mention their spouse's name. So of course, without further ado, I just want to give you about a minute or so just to acknowledge and honor your wife on Your Lane Talk Show, please.
Yeah, listen, she is my good thing, Karen Miller. Listen, she has helped me to discover myself at a whole nother level. And, God blesses you, man, with those who you need to excel and advance and fulfill your purpose in the earth. And I must tell you, my wife is my good thing. She is my rib. She is my supporter. She's my encourager. She's my prayer warrior. She's my advisor. Oh man, she's my life partner. And so it's a joy to have somebody like her to do life with.
I love that. I love that. Now, Karen, whew, I acknowledge you as well because you have helped to form Coach Ricardo into what he is right now. Of course, like they always say, I wouldn't say behind, but I'll say on the side of every good man is a good woman, right?
We'll
right.
see.
So we thank you. So, pastor, why am I saying pastor?
You can say that. That's fine. This is a part of it. That's a role as well.
Coach Ricardo.
Yeah.
We're in this capacity today. So if I say pastor, that's fine. But Coach Ricardo, um, let's talk about why. Why is it important? Or why is it crucial for us to take a moment to review within the mid-year review, um, living life effectively? What is the purpose of it, and how is it impactful for us? Or how should it be impactful for us?
Well, first and foremost, Coach Trish, thank you for having me back. I enjoyed myself on the show the first time, and now to be back, it's a blessing. Why is it important to evaluate and to assess and to review? Well, the truth of the matter is, oftentimes, most of us, if not all of us, go into a new year with anticipation that the year is going to be a better year.
Mm-hmm.
Or we go into a year with a vision, with goals, with an idea that this is what I'm going to make happen. Well, after the first month, second month, third month, fifth month, now sixth, and going into the seventh month, we find ourselves, or in the seventh month, we find ourselves, here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen, we find ourselves losing days, losing weeks, losing months, and almost about to lose a year. And we haven't stopped to ask ourselves, what was it that I said that I'm going to conquer? What was it that I said I was going to accomplish? What was it that I said that when 2024 shows up, I'm going to take out of this year this? I'm coming for mine. God has given me days, weeks, months, and years for a reason. So I'm excited about this whole idea about reviewing, because the truth is, if you don't review your life, chances are you'll repeat the same thing you did last week, last month, and last year. So the review process is very important to ensure that you are making progress.
I love that. So, what are some key areas people should focus on when doing a mid-year review?
Well, first and foremost, we got to remember the goal is to make progress, right? And a lot of times we could be living and not making progress. We could be busy and not making progress. And so I would say the first thing is to establish, I'm here to make progress. Now, the question is, am I making progress? And it is easy, Coach Trish, it's easy to be in denial. It's easy to lie to ourselves. And here's the crazy thing about lies. They find a support group. Lies find support group to reinforce them. So Trish, when you say, child, I'm so tired, guess what you'll end up finding come around you? Girl, I understand. What that does, it reinforces. Watch this. If you want a support group, you will attract what you want.
Yeah.
But if you want an accountability partner, that's why some people avoid me, Coach. They say avoid me because when someone says, man, I got too much going on, you can't say that to me. I would say, it's not so much going on, it's managing what you got.
Time management. That's it right there.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
It's management, right? Or, man, I'm so tired. Well, you could be tired, but I'll go back again to management and observation in regards to what did you do the last 24 hours, the last 72 hours, or the last 168 hours? Did you bench watch a number of series on Netflix, or you got addicted to TikTok and you watched 200 reels in the last few hours only to find yourself exhausted, having given to what didn't matter, and now you're saying, I'm so tired and I don't have time. So the goal here, ladies and gentlemen, is for you to identify what's taking from me but not adding value to me. Let me say that again. What's taking from me but not adding value to me.
That's powerful right there. That's powerful. How can someone accurately assess, because you said was taken, how can they accurately assess their progress towards their goals over the past 6 months?
First I would say is, number one, do you have goals, and did you write those goals down? The reason why it's better to write goals down, Trish, is because we would change them in our minds. You know what I'm saying? You wake up this morning, you say, well, I want to do 10 things today. Then by half of the day, you say, man, I only want to do 3 things today. Before you go to bed, boy, if I can only do 1 thing today. And then when you get to bed, you say, well, you know, I didn't have time to do anything today. See,
Wow.
by the time she went to bed, you justified not having done anything today. But if you wrote down, I want to do 12 things today, this week, this month, or this year, what you need to do, something that's practical, you need to look at your list. How am I doing with the list? So all of my coaching clients, I encourage them, have a list. What is it that you're clear about? One of the things I want to do, Coach Trish, is I want to speak between July 1 and December 31st. I want to speak 100 times. 100 times.
This is a personal goal, or this is you just?
This is a personal goal. This is on my list. Trick, you're one of the 100. You're on the list.
Yes.
Right? Professionally, on stage, on Zooms, on virtual platforms, on radios, I want to do 100 times. I don't know if you've heard about the 10,000 hours. They tell you you'll be considered an expert in your space if you put 10,000 hours in your craft. That's how all of the greats have acquired their expertise. They put in the time. So I'm believing, watch this, Coach. I believe 2025 is going to be a phenomenal year for me. But what am I doing? I'm prepping the stage for 2025 by saying I want to be everywhere, 100 different platforms, services, or opportunities. Now, here's the deal. Opportunities will come if I do the work to get those opportunities. Opportunities often come. Most people don't maximize those. So I'm saying, did you establish a list? That's number one. Number two, do you have an accountability partner who don't lie to you, man, telling you slipping? Not a justifier. Watch this. Not a justifying partner or accountability friend. Watch this. Somebody who justifies tell you, girl, it's okay you didn't do anything today. Girl, it's okay you didn't do anything this month. You want to stay away from people like that. What you want to do is you want to find people who's going to hold you accountable. And so, number one, do you have the list that you said you're going to do? Number two, do you have an accountability partner? Number three, here's the deal. Number three, do you have penalties or consequences for not meeting those goals? See, Coach, what happens is if it's not painful to miss it, chances are you won't do it.
It wouldn't matter. Yeah.
It won't matter.
So, but before I go on to my next question, I'm just curious. What number are you? What today is the what's today's date, Pete? The 14th of July, right? So you obviously you made this quest from what, December 31st or January 1st?
No.
Where are you now?
No, this is 100 between the last 6 months of the year. This ain't no all year.
So you've already accomplished 100.
No, this is just started on July 1st, and I'm on.
I'm thinking you had this thing from January 1st. I'm thinking
this is half of the year in to set the stage for the new year.
Wow.
So watch, Trish. When you see August, September, and October come, you say, Jesus Christ, this guy is everywhere. Because I'm doing the work to set the stage. Now, here's the deal. I'm setting the stage for the new year, but most people are preparing for a new year that they didn't set the stage for.
Let me sip something on that one. Ooh, that's something right there. So people are okay. So we are what? We're in the month of July. There are some people who have stated probably, in the month of December, beginning of January, hey, I am going to do XYZ. I'm going to lose this amount of weight or this amount of pounds. For 2024, I'm going to eat healthier. I'm going to drink more water. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to start my business. And then something happened along the way to discourage them for whatever reason. It could also be procrastination. How do you help, or what can you say to help motivate those? Because we're only a couple months in. Do we put pressure on them to say, hey, you got 5 more months, you need to accomplish this XYZ, or you give them grace? Because I know you said accountability is what's needed, but then sometimes you don't want to put too much pressure on the person. I'm just saying, I could be wrong. You may not want to put too much pressure on the person where they become overwhelmed. So how do you balance that?
Where there is no pressure, there will be no great success.
Ooh.
I mean, you could be talented, but if you're not prepared to be pushed to the limits, you will never go to the Olympics. If you claim to be one call with the gifting to be one of the greats, then you need a coach, you need a mentor, you need advisors in your life who's going to challenge you to become one of the greats. Now, to become one of the greats, you have to learn how to practice when you are now having blisters, when you're burning the midnight oil, when you're rising early. Those are all pushing the limits. Now, there are people who are like, well, I don't want to overextend myself. Then you don't want to be great. To be one of the 1%, you're going to have to put in the work that sets you aside from normal people. Listen to what the Bible says. The Bible says, broad is the way that leads to death, and narrow is the way that leads to life. Well, I want to do what everybody else is doing. Well, you're going to be a nobody. You're going to be stuck on small, and you're never going to accelerate to greatness. Somebody said, well, that's a little bit too much. You only saying that because you don't want to be great. Anybody who wants to be great, anybody who wants to change the game, anybody who wants to go where no man has gone before is going to have to put pressure on themselves and that which they are trying to acquire. So burning the midnight oil is a part of it. Going the extra mile is a part of it. Putting in money, others would say, I would never buy that book at that price. Well, you ain't trying to go where I'm trying to go. Well, I'll never pay for a coach. You ain't trying to go where I'm trying to go. I would never speak that much. You ain't trying to go where I'm trying to go. I was talking to a young man this past Sunday at our church. We got some great young people at our church. And I said, you're going to do well. And this man said, how do you know he's going to do well? I said, well, he's going to college and he wants to play ball. And he came to church with his basketball.
Oh.
Because he's bouncing it in the parking lot and he is rolling it in his hands. Listen, he's so passionate about the ball. Him and the ball, has to become one. To be a great, you have to become one with what you believe you're called to do. So when we start to talk about him on CNN, when they start to talk about him in the magazine, when they come back to the neighborhood to review how he got there, people say, man, that's the young man who used to always be with his basketball.
Yes.
So what happens is people desire to be great, but they don't want to put in the pressure or the work that will bring greatness. So I'm okay with people who don't want pressure. I'm saying stay with the crowd, stay with the broad way, go with the wide route. Just know you'll never be a part of the 1%. Now here's the deal. You can have the gifting that's better than the 1%, but you didn't have the discipline and the work ethics to put the pressure on your gifting to get you where you see others who aren't as good as you. So Coach Trish, people watch TV all the time. They say, man, I better than him. I better than her. But she getting paid. She on the cornflake box.
Yes.
She on the billboard. She on stations.
That's powerful right there. That's powerful. I wanted to say, first of all, I have a few friends that are watching, and I am their friend, and I am also in some instances their coach, and I would let them slide. I was not as, was aggressive or assertive as I should be, especially having heard what you were saying with what they are doing because of what life is giving them as far as having children and trying to balance and all these other things. So, I would give grace to say, okay, well, women, we a little soft, some of us, to be like, okay, well, you didn't do it today. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Then let's start tomorrow. So that was kind of sort of what I was implementing with them. Of course, they weren't paying me. It's just me being their friend. Now, I want to publicly apologize because these women also want to be great, in what they're doing. I have one in particular who's tuning in now, who's in the process of writing her book, and I would be, I would try to tell her and encourage her to say, hey, did you do your book today? Did you read over it today, etc.? And it should be like, okay, well, life was life in, I'd be like, okay, well, you do it tomorrow. So now as a friend, I'm going to be more assertive. Hey, no, you're going to do something today, even if it's just a paragraph, even if it's just whatever it is that you need to do, put in at least an hour, and then you will go finish your life in excuses or whatever it is that you have to do. Go, coach. I feel
Right?
bad.
Listen, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing that. I wanted to jump this in, Coach Trish, because here's what the deal with your colleague slash client.
Mm-hmm.
I send a few texts every week to some of my clients. I said, get up. And they said, what do you mean? I said, stop procrastinating. That's just the text, just like that.
Just like that.
Just sending the text. Stop procrastinating. And I'll get laughing emojis back now. Okay, coach, I'm on it. I say, you can't afford to be watching Netflix today. You're trying to beat a deadline. You're trying to get somewhere that you said to me, you want to produce this by August 1st. You're not even halfway in your manuscript yet. You haven't followed the paperwork for your business yet. You have not done this. You have not done that. I said, listen, tomorrow, here's 3 things I need you to do.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal, Coach Tripp. I fire people. If I give you 3 things to do and you don't have them done 3 different times, 4 different times, I'll tell you, you're out of here. Here's the deal. I'm coaching people who want to go to the Olympics. And I don't want people who just simply say, he is my coach. No. I'm the guy who gets you to the Olympics. If you trying to be top tier, I want to help you get there. But when I see your performance and I realize you don't have top type performance, I'm telling you, get up. But I'm paying you. Take your money with you.
My God. Now, if you're ready for that, you're ready for that. You got to be ready for that. You got to be ready to get that push.
Here's the deal. I don't claim no coaching clients for free, like what you just did. Let me tell you why I don't claim them for free. Because they can't be fired.
Well, they're my friends, so right.
So I advise. So I get you. I advise that we do our little loose talk, but I don't get serious about them and where they are. Who I get serious about is people who came to me and they paid their money to help them to get to what they believe God has placed on their heart.
Yes.
Like,
yes,
I don't want to
absolutely.
just take your money and just lose months only to say, man, I used to have Coach Ricardo as my client, as a coach, but yeah, things didn't work out for me. It still sounds like things didn't work out for you and you're attached to me. And the people who are attached to me are winning. Come on.
Yes.
And so one of the first things I say before you pay is, are you prepared to do the work?
Yes.
Because I don't take clients, I don't think I can help them get to where they're trying to go. I ask you, where are you trying to go? Oh, this is where I'm trying to go. I think I can help you. Well, I've had a few people who said, this is where I'm trying to go. I said, I can't help you because that's not my expertise.
Mm-hmm.
That's an honest position, right?
Yes, of course.
But then once you pay and you now not showing up, I'm like, I'm sorry. This ain't working.
Because you're wasting both our time.
Most
right?
certainly.
Absolutely. We're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, of course, we're going to talk about, let's talk about health and well-being, because that's a part of it too. As much as we want to push and we want to know what that balance is, it has to be a balance, coach. It has to be a balance. So I'm only asking questions what I know other people would want to know the answers to, right?
Most certainly.
So we're going to see if we can talk about self-care, health, and well-being right after this break.
Most certainly.
For those who are tuning in to Facebook, thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions for Coach Ricardo, you can go ahead and post it. We will be happy to read those questions so that he can answer them for you. And other than that, of course, as Coach knows, when we are on break from the radio portion, we're still live on Facebook. So if there's anyone that want to share anything, or if Coach wants to say anything within that little space of time, he can go ahead and do so. We got Beats with a question, Coach.
It's not really a question. Good afternoon. As you all know, I am not a coach. I am the antithesis of a coach, whatever that is. But something that I came across that I think would be really good for your client that you said is trying to write a book.
No. Hold on. pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up.
Mhm.
It's my friend.
Your friend, sorry.
And because it's different. I'm not
Okay.
gonna be, just as coach said, because that's my friend, I'm not gonna put too much pressure
Mhm.
on her per se, because that's different from me and having my clients.
I understand.
Right.
But so this is just a passage that I came across
Mhm.
that specifically for writers. I think it was from Mark Twain or someone who originally said it. And they're like, it's if you set out to write a great book, it's a very difficult thing because humans naturally are better critics than we are creators.
Mhm.
So if you want to write a book, write a bad book, write a terrible book, write the worst, most corny book you could ever write. Once that's done, edit it. Take your time and just make it better. It's easy to make something better than it is to try to make something great from the jump.
What do you move on?
Yeah.
Okay, so on our next break, we'll ask Coach what his thoughts are on that one. Welcome back. For those who are just tuning in, we have with us life coach Ricardo Miller. And of course, we're talking about living life effectively. Going ahead, we have 5 more months left within this year, and we want to make it count. We want to be assertive. We want to have people who will help hold us accountable for what it is that we have said that we want to accomplish throughout this year. And we can't be lackadaisical. We can't procrastinate if we want to get up there and do the thing. If you want to be a mediocre author, a mediocre a businessman, whatever have you, then of course you could go ahead and slack off, as Coach Ricardo said. But if you want to be among the great, it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of effort. So just before our break, I was saying that we're going to talk a little bit about well-being and self-care. Of course, when it depends on the goal that you said you want to accomplish. But let's say you have people who are, they want to accomplish setting, well, they've already said it, but trying to accomplish their weight gain or weight loss. This is me. I was like, I going on a weight gain challenge, and I got my 130 that I said I wanted. Okay. All right. So, but there are those who want to lose and get to 130 or get to whatever weight that they goal that they want to accomplish. Let's talk about self-care with that now, because of course, like you said, to be among the great, you have to push, you got to thrive. But at some point, there has to be a time of rest. And even with writing books, even with planning things, with your businesses, etc., at some point that there has to be rest. So where is the thin line with that?
It's not a thin line. It's actually just management. It's what I call balance. Balance is doing what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're supposed to rest. When you're supposed to work. When you're supposed to write. I wrote this in my book. Watch this, Coach Trish.
Yeah.
If you do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it, you will always have time to do what you're supposed to do. Do you know how many people lay down in bed and watch Netflix movies on their phones or their tablets? You know how many people lay down in bed and are strolling Instagram, watching reels? What is the bed for? When you lay down in bed, what was that for? Rest. And sleep. Do you know how many people, while they're driving to the office and they say, man, this traffic is ridiculous, rather than going to listening an Audible book that they now have on their list to say, this year I said I was going to read a book a month. You can now put on that Audible book in traffic and use the traffic time as what they call automobile university.
Yes.
Watch this. You got your daughter in the back seat and you say, man, I got to spend some time with my children, but my schedule is tight. You tell your children, put them tablets away while we're in traffic. We're going to talk. How was school? Mm-hmm. Now you're 14. You got a little boyfriend. And so now you having family conversation in the car. If you do what you're supposed to do, when you have the opportunity to do it, you will be able to do everything. But the problem, Coach Trish, is this. Watch this. I know I need to talk to this boy, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to stroll Facebook. I know I need to go spend some time with my husband outside and talk with him. But boy, Law and Order, I've seen this one before. Man, I know I'm supposed to wash these clothes. But the truth is, my neighbor next door got some friends who just showed up and I didn't see them in a long time. I know I need to lose some weight. I should put my workout tennis shoes in the car so when I'm driving from home, I could stop at R. Bailey Park, or I could stop on Goodman Spade and make a couple of loops before I even get to the house where I have to take care of my husband and the children. We all have 168 hours. Somebody says, well, I need time to rest. Then rest when you're supposed to rest. I need time to write. If most people look at their time, 168 hours. You work 40 hours. 40 hours is the job, coach. Look at what you got. You look how much more time. You could have 2 jobs of 40 hours and still be holding it down.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
But people want to monitor. Coach Trish, the amount of time, watch this. I'm going to call you out, and I'm assuming this, and don't hold me to this, but I bet in the last month, you probably lost an hour standing in the parking lot at the Guardian talking to somebody who pull up in the back of your car and say, girl, what you saying? Only to talk to them for an hour in the yard. And then you jump in the car and tell your husband, I'm so sorry, I can't. The grocery store closed now because I was talking to a friend. And now your child ain't got the thing for the school tomorrow. And now oh, Jesus, I'm so frustrated. You're frustrated because you gave somebody an hour who wasn't a part of your agenda.
I mean, that's not me, but I can see where that is possible to happen.
Well, you see what I mean? It's just a scenario. You see the scenario?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So when people say, I don't have enough time, you do have enough time. You are not managing your time well.
I love that. I love that. So how do you manage your time personally, Coach?
I believe in writing stuff down. Every day I make a list. I'm not the best at this, because if I was the best at this, I would have already arrived where I really want to go. So I'm still struggling. We're all a work in progress.
Yes.
One of the things I teach my clients is just every day make little progress. If you make one progress every day, by the end of the year, that's 365 progress.
Yes.
If you do that for 3 years, you're a different person.
Absolutely.
So people ask me, but you was on Soldier Road, but you left school with an attendance certificate, but you ain't got no degree. How in the world you are where you are? Books and programs and influencing and assisting people around the world. How did you do it? I said, with the help of God and consistency to making improvement on a daily basis. You've heard the statement before, Coach Trish. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So here's the deal. I'm 48, okay? And the top 7 mentors in my life, top influencers in my life are all older than 70. So when I sit with them, I have this reassurance that I at least have another 20 years comfortably in the front of me if I take heed of the advice and the lifestyle they have shown me by how they've lived, right? But somebody said, well, when I turn 50, 60, or 70, you're saying that, but you're not living daily to produce the kind of life you're projecting or hoping to acquire. So all I'm saying is, how do I get my act together? Just every day, look at how can I make a little tweak. So I ask my wife on a weekly basis, am I doing a little bit better? Ask my son, my daughter, am I doing a little bit better? Because here's the deal. Even if you only change one behavior a week, that's 52 behaviors changed within a year. You know how many people, they have a great list at the beginning of the year and they didn't do anything in producing anything from that list because they don't look back at the list. So for me, I look back at my list. I have people who hold me accountable. And then I made a commitment. Ricardo, every day, every week, every month, you have to become more disciplined. There will be no great success without discipline.
You said so many good nuggets, Coach. I want to just let's take a moment and just dissect all of them. One, the mere fact that you have mentors that are older than you are in the midst of wise counsel. There is someone that says, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. So that in itself is saying, okay, who are you around? You know, who has your ear? What are you listening to? Who's influencing you? So that in itself is something to say, okay, if you see that I'm going, or a person is going in the same cycle, they're not moving, they're stagnant, then that could possibly be because of the company that, or the environment that they find themselves in. What are your thoughts on that?
Listen, when I lived in the Bahamas, somebody said, how in the world did you get escorted off of R&B campus in 1992? And in 1999, you were in youth parliament. And 2000, you were in Caribbean Youth Parliament. Well, I joined Toastmasters. And on my right in Toastmasters was I, Chester Cooper. On my left was Marlon Johnson and Franan Wilson. Those names are very established, professional, and highly respected men in our country.
Yes.
Now, how could you have that kind of man on your right and that kind of man on your left and you not produce? Toastmasters changed my life just based on the environment of having the opportunity to sit next to great men. Now I look at my life and I'm in Toastmasters, I'm in Rotary Club, I'm a part of city government, I'm in leadership at my church. Whenever I show up in the room, I'm like, who's doing things on our next level? Who's doing great? Who is trying to produce at another level? That's who I want to roll with. That's who I want to sit with. And I don't oftentimes want to sit to compete. I want to sit to learn.
Yes. Yes, I love that. That's another thing you said, that you were checking in with your family, with your wife. Am I doing better? And this is beyond, the books and the speech. And it could be, okay, am I being a better husband to you? Am I serving the way that I should? Am I being a good father to you? So this is another thing that I wanted you to really talk about and dissect a little, as far as those who may have goals with just trying to be a better spouse, to be a better parent. Let's talk about that.
Coach Trish, at my home, I'm not a pastor. I'm not an evangelist. I'm not a coach. I'm a father. I'm a husband. Okay, that's who I am. I'm the man in the house to help love, nurture, and guide my family. And so with that said, you could be a phenomenal coach. You could be a great pastor and a failing husband.
Ooh.
You could be a great coach, a great pastor, and a great husband and a failing father. Oof. So I'm telling you, I learned how to take off the coat of a label that society has honored me to have and say, when I'm home, forget what society says. I asked my wife, how am I doing? Years ago, Coach Stress, I used to say, I learned this from a colleague, a friend of mine, and I adopted it, but it wasn't a good thing to adopt. And I heard him say this. I asked him, how are your wife doing? He said, she's doing well. She's married to me. And I started saying that. Well, I learned that you could say that with confidence, but if you didn't ask the person that, you could be making a huge mistake because they may not feel that way.
Absolutely.
So having learned from him, I now ask, and I ask on a frequent basis, because here's the deal. Somebody said, well, I do quarterly check-ins. You know, all depending on what areas of your life you're working on, quarterly may be too late.
To
make an adjustment. You see what I'm saying? So I like the weekly checkup when it comes to my marriage. I like the weekly checkup when it comes to parenting. I like the weekly checkup when it comes to myself. Watch this. I need the daily checkup when it comes to my salvation.
Come on.
When it comes to my walk with God, how am I doing today? Somebody said, well, I can't wait until I get to church on Sunday. Most people, by the time they get to church on Sunday, they have starved their spiritual man to death.
Come on.
And let me tell you something. If you haven't eaten right for a long time, even when right shows up, it doesn't feed you correctly because you're so malnutrition. And that's where a lot of people are. A lot of people are not in a good place because they have not taken the time to get daily fed in a healthy way so God can be glorified.
That's some good. Y'all taking notes? Listen, when I get home tonight, I'm going to rewatch this show for me. Because even coaches need coaches, as you know. None of us have arrived. We have mentors, we have therapists, we have coaches, we have pastors and things, people who would lead us and guide us. And this is good right here. I appreciate all of these nuggets. Now let's talk about the tools and resources. What are some things that you would recommend for tracking progress other than just, just writing things down? Because sometimes people don't have a pen and paper in hand. What are some other things or resources, tools that people can use to track progress and staying organized?
Well, I'll go back to this, and I think you're there in the Bahamas. I think you're awesome. I think you've been establishing yourself as a person of authority in regards to being a coach. I think that's a tool. That's a thing. That's a resource. I think in the form of a person. I think some people are stuck on slow and they've been left behind because you're certified, highly skilled, and show yourself to always be presenting your services every weekend here on the show and elsewhere. If you're in the Bahamas, you need to connect with Coach Trish. You need to connect with her because here's the deal. The Bible says, my sheep know my voice and a stranger they won't follow. You keep showing back up to her show because you keep saying she says something that connects with you, but then you don't want to tap in to really utilizing her service, which is submitting to her coaching service. I would say that's number one. Number two, all of us have a book that we've read, but we haven't applied. Go pull that book back out and say, you know what? I ain't putting this away until my life reflect what's in the book. Woo-hoo.
That's good right there.
Hey, Coach Trish, I was reading my book this morning and I put it on Audible. I have my book on Audible. And I was and my wife, she said, well, you listen. I say, I listen to it once a week because it's about 2 hours and 20 minutes on Audible. And she, why are you listening to it once a week? I said, I'm never going to stop listening to it until I feel like I'm in alignment with my book. Okay? I want to be one with my book. I didn't want to just write the book. And so I would say, for those of you that are watching, don't only read the book you have, but make sure you do the work to be the manifestation of the book you claim to have read. Okay? Number three, I'll say this and I'm done. I love journaling. I love journaling. I think dating, the process that you're on, is very helpful. Go back and look. Write down July 14th. Here are 7 things that's on my mind. Next week, Sunday, when you come back to go ahead and listen to this show and you're watching it live again, you said, here were 7 things that got my attention. Then the next week, and you start working your way through. Now, somebody might say, well, Coach, I can't afford a coach. I can't afford the book. What you could do is you can take advantage of what's free until you get so good at what's free, you should now be able to afford after a while.
Absolutely. And let me stick a pin right there. Yes, we understand that everyone have various financial responsibilities and different seasons, go for different things. However, yes, as Coach Ricardo said, that you could take advantage of free things. I know a lot of people who are successful business people because of YouTube.
Yep.
And YouTube alone.
Yep.
Okay. YouTubeology. Yep. YouTube University, all right, have made successful makeup artists, hairstylists, and so many other professions because of that, and without them spending a dime initially, because of course you still want to invest in things. So don't make the excuse that, hey, I want to be better, however I don't have the funds to do just that. There's absolutely no excuse. Go ahead, Coach.
I want to say this to somebody who's watching. I want to encourage you, please don't get addicted to content collecting without application. Content collecting would have you to say, he didn't say anything I don't know. But the question is your life a reflection of what you know? Effective living is living what you've discovered.
Yes.
Okay? Let me say it again. Effective living is living what you've discovered. Somebody said, well, I believe in the principle of tithing, but you don't tithe. Jesus Christ. What do you mean? Well, I believe, readers are leaders, but you're reading, but you're not leading. Oh, I believe that I was supposed to be the head and not the tail. Well, do an assessment on your life. Mid-year review. You still the tail.
Ouch.
So
you mashed all kind of corn just now, Coach. All kind of corn.
I'm just trying to help some people. So what's this? My greatest work ethics needs to be built around the idea of becoming one with what I've discovered. Let me say it again. My greatest work ethic. A lot of people work ethic is how can I take the company where I work to the next level? How can I make my child successful? How can I look like I'm successful to the public? But no. Don't even look at any of those things. The greatest investment you could do is to become one with what you've discovered. That's truth. The Bible says the truth will set you free. So when you know I need to spend time with my daughter, I really believe that. And I really believe you should train them up in the way they should go. I was at the car wash yesterday. I drove my car to the car wash. I'm vacuuming my car. I looked next door, and this gentleman, he was vacuuming his car as well, but he had two young men. One couldn't be no more than 8, and the other one was 12. And he says, hey, you vacuum the back and you vacuum the front. And he said, no, vacuum over there. And I said, thank you, sir, for what you're doing. He says, the Bible says, train them up in the way they should go. These young men are going to need to take care of their wives and know how to work. That's what he said. Listen to what he just said. He says, the book said, and I'm doing. Woo! Come on. He says, application. He said, these are my grandchildren. And he said, they're so used to the tablet and their phones. He says, when they come to my house, I'm training them. And I said, sir, one day they're going to thank you.
Wow. Coach, I mean, this is another transparent moment for me. My son started a basketball camp. And on Friday, he said to me, Mom, I don't think I'm going to go next week. And I said, is everything okay? Because he loves basketball. I said, what is the issue? Is someone bullying you, or you feel, what's going on? So he says no. And then today I asked again because the girls wanted to do some dance camp this week. So I said, the girls are going to be in a camp and you won't have anything to do this week. I said, you sure you don't want to go to camp this week? What is your reason? He said, well, because they work me too hard. They work me too hard. They spend 20, 30 minutes on just, exercising and all this strength development. And I'm saying that's because you need strength development, for everything that they're doing. These people had this camp for years. This isn't the first time they're doing this. Isn't trial and error. This particular gentleman, because I know him personally, brings over professional basketball players to the Bahamas, to this country, just to introduce the boys to them, etc., and teach them how things go. And I admit, sir, that I said to him, okay, well, if you don't want to go, I'm not going to pressure you. But after this conversation with you, I'm going to allow him. I'm going to dig deep, first of all, again tonight, just in case, because, there might be something that he probably don't want to share.
Yeah,
so once I get deep to the root of the issue and I realize if it's only because they work him too hard, come hell or high water, excuse my term, he going to be there to that camp tomorrow, God's willing.
Let me add to that. I think, thank you so much for being sensitive to hear your son and have a relationship to even talk with him. That's really commendable. Mm-hmm. But I would ask him, do you want to be great? Do you want to be great? Because greatness will put pressure on you. Yeah. And it's not going to always be easy, but that's how you become great. It's learning how not to run from that which appeared to be hard.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, successful marriages occur because you didn't run when it was hard. Great companies were built because you didn't run when it was hard. I mean, you end up with degrees because you didn't run when it was hard. But people who run when it gets hard, they are never known to be great. And I would tell them, I say, do you want to be great? And remember, wherever you lack discipline, oftentimes it feeds over to other areas of your life. So now you don't want to do hard in basketball. Now you don't want to do hard in math. You don't want to do hard in reading. So what happens is you become addicted to ease. And ease is comfort, and comfort is where those who aren't doing nothing preside.
Yes.
And they're just going for the bare minimum. They're just the bare minimum. Do you want to be great? And so I commend you for having that kind of conversation with him. But like you said, the company has a great reputation for producing a great summer camp. And you say, hey, listen, I pay my son when he was playing soccer. He said, Dad, I don't want to play soccer no more. I said, well, no problem. When the term is finished, you won't have to play again. But you're gonna finish the season. You're gonna finish the season. Whatever you start, you're gonna finish
Yes.
because I'm not gonna let you quit along the way. I did
Yes.
that, and it messed me up.
I love that. I love that. What other come, Charles? Let me move my questions aside. I want you to talk to us just
You
real
know?
quick before we go on this break. This is, and then we'll go back to the questions after the break. But let's talk to some of the parents now who may have children in similar instances where they start things and then they stop,
Mhm.
or they, they procrastinate. Or how do we develop parents or give them that mindset to say, hey, you need to push your children to do more, to accomplish more, to thrive, etc.
Well, one of the first things a parent can do, this is going to be real strong. I'm not trying to deliver my content like this. It's just really, it's responding to the questions you're
Yeah.
asking. But here's the deal: if you ain't doing nothing with your life, you're affecting your child, and whatever you tell them ain't gonna make a much difference.
Mm.
Children watch you more than they hear you.
Yes.
So what I would say is, as parents who are listening to me, become diligent. Let your children see you working out. Let them see you clean up your environment. Let them see you reading books. Let them see you online course. Let them see you starting businesses. Let them see you trying to get the corner office. Let them hear you on the phone talking strategic moves. Let them see you managing your budget for the house. And then you include them inside of that. And let me tell you something. Children have never failed in imitating their adults.
Come on.
They don't listen well, but they intimidate. They do what you do well. And so for the parents who are watching, I'm saying create a lifestyle worth following.
Yes.
Because a lot of parents back home, one of the things we're really good at, girl, aim for the stars. But mama, you on the porch playing dominoes and watching Netflix the same time. Girl, you gonna be great. Don't get pregnant early. Well, and then God, how this girl gonna get pregnant early? Mama, you got pregnant early. Girl, I want you to have a good job. Well, your job ain't that good, so I guess if I can get a job like yours, I should be okay. You see what I'm saying? So I believe we should be working on ourselves. I told my son, when life punched me in the face, you live long enough, life will punch you in the face and give you some difficulties that really will cause you to wonder where God was, right? I had one of those moments, and I told my son, I said, you remember when I was going through that difficult moment? He said, yes, sir. I said, you know what was my number one priority? He said, what was it? I said, putting my mask on first.
Yes.
I said, I had to get my act together. And he said, what does that mean? I said, you've been on the craft before. I said, what did they tell you? Put your mask on first, and then. I said, my goal was to get me right. And I say, now what am I doing? I'm trying to get you right. So many parents are trying to get their kids right, but they haven't got themselves right.
Yes. They suffering. I love that. We're gonna go on a quick break. Beats, man, hurry up with these breaks, man. I know these breaks they pay the bills, but we won't get these juicy nuggets from Coach Ricardo. So real quick, we're gonna do those. They pay the bills. So let me not say. Let me stop right there. Stop showing off, Trish. Stop showing off. Let's get a break, and then we'll come back to Coach Ricardo.
Add fantastic flavor to anything.
So, Coach.
While we're on break, I sent my brother from another mother. I got a few of them in the live. Pastor Brother Claire from Evangelistic Temple. Me and Pastor Claire, we're as close as brothers. Jason Baston, there in Canada as well. One of the most influential women in my life, Minister Carol Crockett and Cynthia Ferguson, are in the house. My Bahamian brother who lives here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Sean Smith, is in the house. And Isaiah, man, that brother right there, he knows how to do it. He's killing it in the DFW area. Just some good people I've seen popping in.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you. In fact, he asked a question, so we're going to go ahead. Just about 5 minutes into the before we close, or you can actually talk about the various books that you've written, where they can find or locate those books, and if they need your coaching services, where you can be reached. All right. So we won't do that now. We'll do that about 7:20, 7:25 roundabout.
Got
There,
it.
Bob. All right. So if you have any other questions, go ahead and you can ask your questions for Coach Ricardo while we are on our break. This is so good. This is so good, Coach. Transformation at its greatest. Okay.
The part where you said about being a content portal.
Mm-hmm. That anyway. You
Yeah,
ain't just
that's 100%.
beats having a transparent moment. He said that's him being
What's
a,
that?
a
Content collector?
content hoarder. Yes.
Content
Uh-huh.
portal.
It's an addiction. It's a
It
habit.
is. It is. I've in the last 2 months I've read 48 Laws of Power. Well, through audiobooks. 48 Laws of Power. I've read The Art of War. I've read um Atomic Habits twice.
Mm-hmm.
And Power twice. I
Mhm.
really like those.
Mm-hmm.
But the application of them, it's like with 40 with Laws of Power, it's an interesting book. Like I even told Empress, like it's an interesting book because you could use it offensively and defensively.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I use it more like in a defensive stance, whereas I can identify when someone is trying to use something from the book, and I'm like, yeah, I know what you're doing, and I know how to get out of it. But to use it offensively,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been doing that. So yeah, that was a good one.
Okay.
Thank you. Listen, I pray to God every day. That's one of my greatest fear. Okay, is to just to find myself knowing it all, but don't have the manifestation of what I've known, what I've
Ooh.
discovered. I don't want to be that.
Welcome back. Listen. I hope y'all are taking notes. See some really, really good nuggets from Coach Ricardo. And to be honest with you, if I were you, which I'm actually going to do myself, I would listen to this at least once or twice this week, and until I get it, these nuggets, they're not just you to just listen and be like, yeah, that's true. Okay, I'm gonna do it. No, these nuggets that he's giving you, these are for you to apply so that you can be transformed, so that you can actually say, okay, I have seen progress from the moment I've heard what he had to say to where I am now. We got 5 more months into this year, God's willing, for those who have specific goals for this 1 year. And I'm not referring to the 3-year, 5-year goals. I'm referring to this for this 1 year. So go ahead, listen to this, and not just listen, but apply it. Just while we were on break, we had Beats, our producer, saying, "Hey, I admit, hey, I have a confession. I am a content hoarder." Okay, it's okay to be a hoarder if you are using that content to actually apply it as well. So you're getting the necessary information that you need so that you can hear it and probably listen to it time and time again, and then you're getting that information and actually doing something about it, making change. Your mind has been transformed in some way. All right, your thinking is different, your speech is different. You're actually doing something and seeing where you're growing. You're seeing your growth. That's different. Keep your information. You have your little files on YouTube, whatever have you, wherever your files are located. You listen to them when you can, and then you go and you apply them. So you don't just keep them and just do nothing. All right, that's the difference. Coach?
So good. So good. Listen, we have 171 days left before the new year.
Mm-hmm.
I went and checked it out. 171 days. You'll be amazed what you can do. You can start a company within that time. You can write a book within that time. Literally, you can establish an emergency fund within that time. You could re-establish a healthier relationship with your marriage, with your children. I mean, you could start investing in your spiritual walk to a point where you feel like you're freshly born again.
Come on.
Okay, within that time. There's so much you can do within 171 days. But what you're going to have to do ultimately, and Beats talk about a book that talks about atomic habits. I love that book, Beats. Phenomenal book. Okay, in my book, I talk about the crippling effect of excuses and breaking bad habits. You really got to address this is a habit of mine. One of my habits traditionally has been Sundays at 3:00, I shut down. That's the traditional preacher in me, right?
Mm-hmm.
But because I on my hustle of 100 speaking engagement, what am I doing around 3 o'clock in Texas? I'm on a live right now with my coffee as my booster because I remind myself, you trying to go somewhere. Now, here's the deal. When it's time to sleep, I sleep. When it's time to work, I work. Because going back to mental health, going back to rest, going back to not overextending myself, here's the deal. You could really do what you were called to do if you do what you're supposed to do. The problem is some of us condition ourselves to be excuse driven. Excuse driven. And once again, I said this to you, Coach Trish, the dangerous thing about excuses is it has a support community that will find you and massage you in your comfortness of accepting your well, you see, he could say that because he in the States. Well, he could say that because he's a man. He could say that because, you catch what I'm saying? Yeah. And people will say what they need to say, and the reinforcers will show up to reinforce what you believe to keep you there. But you got to get that principle that the word of God says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. If God be for me, who can be against me? This, God told me this is my year. Now, if this is my year and this is what he's put in my spirit to accomplish, and I went and I sat with a coach who told me I could produce this type of results in 171 days, but you got to turn off Netflix. You're going to have to get up early. You're going to have to go to bed late. Come on, you're going to have to watch what you're spending, because the truth is you are in debt or you're living above your means. And here's what most people do. The thing that will get them to the promised land is the thing they have least commitment to. And their addiction is what they're honoring most. You're never going to get to your promise being addicted to the thing that keeps you from your promise. You got to get to the point where you discipline yourself and you realize, okay, Netflix, go and see how much hours you've put on there. Go and see how many hours you put on Facebook. Go and see how many hours you're inside those WhatsApp group watching those videos. For you in 6 different groups, and you watch all of the videos and look at all the pictures, and then you opening pictures up to see people clothes and what they're wearing and all that stuff, putting in all that time, and yet you say you want to be great.
So, sir, we got now, as we wrap up with this, because I'm trying to help somebody, we got, hey, you gotta put in the work. All right, put it in the work means you getting the resources that you need, whether it be coaching, whether it be going back to school, whatever it is that you need, reading books, going to YouTube University, whatever that means to you, whatever that looks like to you, and then you're applying it. You're applying whatever information that you need. You also spoke about writing the vision, as Habakkuk says, and making it plain, that way you be able to go back. What I love about writing too is the fact that even when life throws blows, like you said before, when life throws blows at you, with that same goal that you're trying to accomplish, or that vision that you have, you can actually go back to that vision and say, hey, I can get inspired by what it is that I first wrote. Because there are times when you look at finances, and the finances may not look appealing to help you to get to that goal, or you have people who may be doing similar things that you're doing, and you get discouraged because they're doing it better, or it seems as if that they're being more accomplished or doing more things than you, or whatever the reason is for you to become discouraged. You could go back to that written goal or vision and say, you know what, this is what is going to drive me. So knowing your why, I think, is so important. All right. You also spoke about the environment and the company you keep. Okay. So we have to be mindful of that. Be mindful of who is speaking in your ear. Be mindful of choosing or selecting mentors. You spoke about time management, which is extremely important. There's no way that you could, like you said, Netflix and what the term is today's use, Netflix and chill, the entire whatever amount of hours. I'm most certain that recreation is important, right? But there's a time for that. Like you said, once you do what you're supposed to do, you're gonna have time to do. Can't remember how you worded it, but it was so powerful. I gotta listen to that again. So once you do what you're supposed to do, you could say, okay, well, I could put in about an hour or 2 hours, to just have that recreational time, if that is a part of your discipline, because there's some people who don't want to do that. That's on them. Okay. And then, am I missing anything? Am I missing anything?
No, I think you're on a roll. I think you highlighted greatly what we talked about. I'll just say this. I know we're about to close this out. Look at your setbacks. What's kept you back?
Mm.
Okay. You said you want to achieve this, but what were your setbacks? What are your goals and your priority? I mean, you got to identify what's your goal and your priority. Another one is, yes, how are you doing with management? Really, the truth of it is your life is going to reflect how you manage it. Some people are management, they're on the management team at their job, but they're doing horrible in regards to managing of their life.
Personal life.
Very few people have been taught that. That's why I like being a life management coach. Then what's this? Personal development. What do I need to get better at? I make good money, but I'm broke. You know what I'm saying? Or I have a lot of people around me, but I'm not good with people because they're all taking from me and they're not adding value to me. So maybe you may need to learn how to assess who to get to be in your inner circle. Some people don't know how to pick friends. Some people have overcommitted to family when the truth is family has hurt them more than anyone else. And they don't even know how to disconnect from who is hurting and who is helping. And so they now blanket the whole I don't deal with people. Well, you can't advance in life without people. People. But you also have to have discernment to identify who is sent of God and who is sent of the devil. You need to know who's assigned to help you and who's been assigned to hurt you. That's a skill set.
You have some leashes out there who just sucking you dry. You just taking.
And they know the 48 laws of power. And they rub in your hand because watch this, you so needy, you want to rub in your hand, but you ain't realize your purse is being taken.
Ooh,
your time is being taken.
Mm.
So you really got to get awakened and grab a hold of what skill do I need to acquire. Here's the deal. When I hear people say people always take advantage of me, I'm like, you've heard this statement before, Coach. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice.
Shame on you.
You see what I'm saying? No, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. But watch this. I told my mother one time, I called up, I said, Mom, I've been fooled but 10 times. She said, you stuck on Slowick.
Oh, gee.
Come on. Because at the end of the day, why is it at 48 years old, I'm still saying people are taking advantage of me? What have you not learned?
My God.
It's an acquired skill. You need to learn to figure out what I need to know so that I don't have the same thing happening to me repeatedly.
Yeah, yes.
People always take advantage of me. They always overlook me on the job. I mean, listen, man, look how they come and mess up my place. You full-grown man, full-grown woman talking about people come and mess up your place. It's your place. When you sit in my car, I said, well, you do dirty to sit in my car, but you're going to have to catch it.
Oh, gee.
Here's $10.
I just can't fool you.
I gotta take care of my car. Hey, listen, you can't.
Wow.
We might have to do a part 2 at some other point.
But I have to, because this is powerful right here. I want you to talk about. Let's talk about your books. You said you did 5. You were able to list. Some people can't remember their books. I don't know if you have them nearby or if you know them offhand. But can you list your 5 books and a little bit about what they're each about?
Really, the one book I give most of my emphasis to now is Effective Living. The other ones are a little bit more when I was in children's ministry and when I was pushing my itinerary ministry.
Okay, so let's push Effective Living then.
Yeah, so Effective Living, I push Effective Living because that's where I am now. That's the book
right
I'm
now.
to live. And I teach Effective Living is 5 F's: faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun. Let me say that again. It's 5 F's: faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun. And what I say is, if you're not doing well in those 5 areas, then life is going to punch you in the face. Okay. And you could find yourself sitting on the porch of regret. But because you guys are so astute and so sharp, you all went ahead and put all my books out there just for the public to see. I have God Wants You Blessed. That was the birth book for Effective Living. The Traveling Minister's Handbook. There are some people who might, Miller, you have done 15 plus countries. How do you set up a traveling ministry? That book is a book that pushes that message. Then I have a book, 141 Good Habits for Young People. That's a game changer. It's really practical tips for a person who's wanting to learn principle-driven living. And then Wisdom Keys for Children's Ministry for the church that wants to reach kids Every worker should have wisdom keys for children's ministry. And then parenting with a purpose. I talk about that as well. It's really lifestyle first, so that reflection could be the bigger impact on the child. Haven't you noticed that successful people, children often become successful too?
Yes.
Could it be because the environment sets the tone for what they produce in life? And have we noticed that people who are struggling oftentimes raise children who are equally struggling? And so principle living is the way forward. The Bible says in Proverbs 4 and 7, it says, wisdom is the principal thing. Get the principle. There's principles about money, principles about time, principles about people, principle about places. There are certain places you go in, you shut up and listen. There are certain places you need to go in and speak up. You need to have the principle. If you know the principle and you apply the principle in its appropriate place, you will win.
Yes. Yes, I definitely scroll down for me. Beats again. You can go back there. I want to get you back because I already felt that in my spirit. The parenting one. Beats,
Yep.
if you could.
Yep.
What's the name of it?
Parenting with a purpose.
Parenting with a purpose. I got to get you back. Definitely on the life living effectively, but the parenting with a purpose, that's powerful right there.
Thank you.
That's powerful right there, and that is something that I would want to push, especially if possible. We can have you back either like around September, getting back to school. So that's on the agenda. Of course, we will talk about that afterwards. So you spoke about the various books that you have. Where can people reach them? We're actually on your website, but can they also purchase on Amazon, or where do you recommend?
Amazon, but hey, listen, I'm coming home to the Bahamas, man. I'll be home. I'm speaking on Sunday, August 25th at Living Waters. And I'll be doing a book signing at Living Waters. So if you're on the island, I got a word. Okay, so it's a great time to come on in, get a live message in person, and get a few copies of my book in person. And listen to this, Coach. If somebody tell me they come in and they come for real, what I'll do is give them that signature shirt that says, "I'm creating a life I don't need a vacation from."
I love that. Yeah. All right. So especially now, I don't know if you remember from now, you got to put that inside. As Coach said, you have to write things down, right? And journal things. I usually put things in my calendar on my phone. So can you say the date once again?
Sunday, August 25th. It's their 9 o'clock or 9:30 service. At Living Waters Kingdom Ministries there in New Providence off of Warren Street. I'll be doing a book signing there. Would love to have some of your viewers or listening audience to come share that time with us at Living Waters.
Shout out to Apostle Raymond Wells and his beautiful wife, Pastor Olivia Wells. They are, if I begin to explain how they have impacted my life, I'll be here all day. I absolutely honor them. I adore them and the role that they play. Not just in me and my husband's lives, but the lives of so many. So many. All right. So shout out to them. Okay. So Pastor Ricardo, Coach Ricardo, where can people reach out to you to get their personal coaching, business coaching, whatever it is that they would need? Because obviously you have it. People need that push. People need that motivation. They need that accountability. That not as soft as I am, because I ain't gonna lie, I've been a little soft. But I mean, even talking to you now, I'm tough enough. So how can you be reached, sir?
Man, listen, go to my website. That's really the best place to go. Go to my website, ricardomiller.com. And right at my website, I'm doing something totally new and totally fresh. I felt God has released me to go to the nations of the world and really just help people with this message of getting their act together, because days are expensive. A day wasted is a day you'll never have again. And so I want to help people maximize their potential. So here's what I'm doing. But in the next 12 months, I tell people I will be booked to speak at family reunions. I will be booked to speak at graduations. I want to speak at proms. I want to speak at football games. You know what I mean? But then also coaching. I do premarital counseling coaching. I do marriage coaching. I do also leadership coaching, team development coaching, branding coaching. I like to help people walk through the principles of establishing themselves to acquire what they've been praying for.
I love that. I love that. And there was a question. I don't know if we he may have answered that. Remember earlier when they were saying about a book? Can you grab that for me? Beats in the meantime. All right. So we can go on your website for further information about booking and the various coaching topics and things that you do.
Mhm.
I think you answered this already. Coach Miller, I would love to buy your book to support those in the Bahamas. How can we support the work you do and connect with you? Okay, so that was answered.
Yeah, definitely. He can go to my website, ricardomiller.com. You purchase the book. I will make sure those books are distributed in the Bahamas. As a matter of fact, I have intent to make a courtesy visit to a couple of the schools, first and second week of school opening, uh,
Mhm.
to do book signing and to do some release of my books to some of the schools that I have partnered with in this next school year.
I love that. Thank you for that. Now, any parting words for those listeners who may still be struggling? I mean, hey, you have enough information and ammunition here to hear what was said today. A lot of nuggets were given, and of course, this cannot be the only time that you listen to this particular broadcast with Coach Ricardo. You have to listen to this again because there are a lot of things that we still have to apply based on what he said. But are there any other parting words that you want to give to those who may still find it difficult to push?
I want to reiterate what you just said. I think what you just said was golden, and that was uh, go back and listen to it again and again. Even me, sometimes you just need to unlearn what you should have never learned. And the way
Mm-hmm.
to do that is to repeatedly listen. And so I love how Beats mentions that he went and listened to the book twice.
Mm-hmm.
Beats, I'm doing my book once a week because I want to become one with it. And so sometimes the stronghold of our past, our culture, sometimes how we've been taught and what has been enrooted in us as a bad idea, even though the truth shows up on our door through a book or a live like this, it's a stronghold. And
Yeah.
hearing it once is not enough. So just like Coach Trish mentioned, listen to it a couple of times while you're driving. In addition, I would encourage you go check out my YouTube channel, Coach Ricardo Miller. I have over 500 videos there, straight talk. I'm going to keep it real. And let me tell you
Yeah.
something. I'm trying to become one with what I'm teaching. Okay, so whenever you hear me, I'm going to bring it to you straight, raw, and don't run from truth. You can't be free if you run from the truth. The scripture says the truth will set you free. Lean into the truth and then make sure you try to fight to live what you discover because the truth will set you free.
That's good right there. Pete, can you put up the YouTube? Do that for me. There you go. There you go.
Thank you.
So for those who need to check out the YouTube. So and like I said before, you can do people listen to podcasts,
Yep.
YouTube,
Yep.
and everything on their route to wherever it is
Right.
they need to go. So you have no excuse.
Yep.
You have no excuse. So what?
That's why I listen to mine anytime I'm driving.
See, Pete say he listens to his
I'm
books.
a whole DJ, and when I'm driving, I don't usually listen to music when I'm driving. It's usually some sort of audio book
Mm-hmm.
or a podcast, or usually something like
Something to
that,
help,
like
right?
The Greatest Secret with Earl Nightingale. That was my first one. That was the best one.
Mm-hmm.
That was a solid one. Um, Stuff like that.
Coach, I have to pick up Beats just for 2 seconds. I don't think he understands how valuable he is. And I don't want to say too much because I want him go. But Beats is far beyond the station.
Yep.
I ain't got a promise with that. I gotta say what I got. I gotta be real. I gotta be real, Coach Ricardo. He's far beyond it. He's far beyond not just even a station, but his mindset and the way that he does things. You've seen, even with us speaking, that he's pulling up things as we speak, and
Yep.
he's very creative, and there's
Phenomenal what
so
he does.
much to him.
Yep.
And I've been telling him that, and he knows that. And I just want him to, and I don't know if he knows that to the point where he start writing down his goals and what he wants to accomplish and what he wants to do. Have you been doing that?
Um, I did, like I said, when I so it works like this for me, right?
Oh Lord.
So it comes in spurt.
Right.
So I would say my son is 2 years old. About 2 years ago, when my wife was pregnant with my first son,
Mhm.
I started looking at the way things were in my life right now, and I realized that if I'm going to be a father, I need to change and develop some things and make some improvements.
Right.
So I looked on ways to do that, and the one way that came to me first was this book by Earl Nightingale, or it was voiced by Earl Nightingale, called The Greatest Secret. And it was talking about, there's one particular passage where they talked about this farmer who had this farm out in the country, and he heard about, oh, this guy in Africa who have this diamond mine. So the man sell his farm and say, well, I can sell my farm and I can buy a diamond mine. Go on to Africa, you ain't got no diamonds. But the dude he sold his farm to, he come there one day, gone down by the stream, look in the water, say, but that's a pretty rock, eh? Pick up the rock. It was the biggest diamond that has ever been found in the world.
Mm.
I don't know if it's a true story,
Right.
but it was about getting the message out there. So I took that to heart, and I started to, look at myself and look at some of my shortcomings, and that's what led me to started meeting with my first psychiatrist, and that's how I got to my diagnosis of ADHD. It's a very specific form of ADHD, and through consultation and medication, I've made a lot of improvements to my life. And as things went on, I started reading more books and stuff. Like I recently got into 48 Laws of the Power and things as I joined this other DJ group, and I wanted to start taking my career a bit more
Another level.
to
More
another
serious.
level. And I found that in the past I've found myself to be a lot more passive, so that's where I went to power, to maybe give myself some sort of an edge in that. And yeah,
And the rest is history.
the rest is
So
history. Well, it's not
moving.
history.
Like
It's
you're progressing.
it's now. It's in
You're in the
development.
now.
It's the story that's being written right now.
Okay.
So
All
Good
right.
stuff.
Good stuff. I'm glad that you are applying what you've learned, and
Yeah.
the books and stuff are helping.
It's being
helping.
applied. It could be applied better, but
So
I know
if
that
you
it
were
could be
to leave,
applied
I
better.
mean, this is just us asking now, being coach, we're trying to be, I don't like to use the term devil advocates, but we're just trying to see where you're at now based on what you've heard from what he was saying.
Oh,
What is something that you can actually take,
y'all
grasp,
asked me. Oh
and
yeah,
move
sorry,
ahead
I forgot the
with
question.
it?
So when I first started doing The Greatest Secret, they said to write out the goals. That was the first time like that had ever been presented to me in my life. Like thinking about what are the goals that I have for myself. What do I want?
Mhm.
So I was like, okay. I looked at. He said, look at what you're doing now. What do you want more? I said, okay, well, I want more money. I said, I want something reasonable. I said, I want to make.
These are things that you've written down.
Yeah, I want to make X amount of money a month, and I accomplished that. And now it's setting out another goal that is like there are your big dreams, and then there's also your stepping stones to get to them.
I
So
get
now
that.
it's figuring out what is the next step stone before the big dream.
But what is your, I'm glad that you shared that, but what is your takeaway from what Coach Ricardo had said today?
Oh, the biggest thing to me was just don't be a content whore. Yeah. No, sorry. Did I content hoarder?
Hoarder, not
Don't be a
whore.
content- Same thing. Same thing. Don't be a content hoarder.
Coach, we got to work with this one.
Yeah, use it.
Thank you so much, Coach Ricardo, for being a part of Your Lane Talk Show, for adding value here with us and those who've been listening. I'm most certain, even myself, I have gained so much, even as far as knowing if there are a lot, and it's not like I didn't know, but it's just making sure that I apply it as much or much more than I was before. One, I do have to be a little bit more assertive. I'm the graceful one. You know how they say you have the good cop, bad cop. I'm more of the good cop side. Like, okay, I understand that this is can you try to do it tomorrow, or can you at least apply an hour within whatever have you, especially for moms, like single moms and stuff like that, who usually say, okay, well, time took their time, was a part of the reason why they didn't do what they did. But time management is important, right? And so another thing that I got from what you're saying is, of course, which is vital to me, is to go back to my son. Once I recognize that the root problem is not something that is detrimental or something that he may not share, because I'm going to dig a little deeper into our conversation this evening. If it's only just because they work him hard, then of course I'm going to speak to him in regards to saying, if you want to be great in this particular field, if this sport is what you want to go ahead and continue doing, then it will require a lot of work. Every sport, he's in rugby, he's in soccer, he's in all these other things. He swims, competitive swimmer. So he knows it comes with a lot of work. For this one, that's why I cannot understand why he doesn't want to go back. So once again, I'll dig into the root of the issue. And then once it's only because they work me too hard, then I'll say, hey, we're not going to give up. This is the final week. Go ahead, make it count. And then you can decide what you want to do from there. And so because of you being present, Coach Ricardo, I want to thank you. Thank you so much for the knowledge that you've imparted to us, both me and Beats, and of course, those who are tuning in via radio and on Facebook and cable.
Hey, you have a great show. I'm a friend of your platform. And, when we connected the first time, I told you I was watching from a distance. And so it's been a joy to watch you consistently provide value to our country through the radio and on virtual, the space online and so forth. So hats off to you. I love your platform, Your Lane Talk Show. I'm a supporter. I'm a believer, and I'll continue to be a friend.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so, ladies and gentlemen, those who are tuning in, we had with us Coach Ricardo Miller. He's shared his platforms. One thing he did not share was his social media. Did you share how people can see you? Because I'm most certain that you do lives and stuff as well, right? Do you?
Yeah. The page I would love for people to follow me on, where I try to keep everything out, is Effective Living LLC. That's
Okay.
on Facebook.
Effective Living LLC.
Yeah.
All right. So go ahead and follow Coach Ricardo on Effective Living LLC on Facebook. You want to have someone who say, hey, stop procrastinating, out the blue. I mean, while you're on your phone and you're scrolling through, and you might get a little message, that comes up, that pops up. Hey, put that game down. Cut off Netflix. Stop scrolling on TikTok. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go and do what you're supposed to be doing. You want that. And I appreciate you for that.
That's how I use my prophetic gift.
There you go. Oh, shoot. They ain't want to have no coach who's a prophet, because he knows exactly what you're doing. Hey, he knows exactly what you're doing. And so Thank you. Thank you, Coach. Thank you for that. All right. So as we're closing, I wanted to share what is going on next week. On next week's show, we have with us Keys to Unlocking Your Dreams Part 2 with Darnell Craig. That is going to be powerful. Okay, for those who have dreams and may not understand how to assess them, or you don't have a clear revelation on how to go about looking at the various symbols that may be in your dream. I'm excited about next week. You want to go ahead and tune in for next week, Sunday, same time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for our guest, Darnell Craig, who's going to enlighten us about all of that. What dreams, what are dreams? What are some of the symbols? We're going to talk about, how to interpret them. There are times, of course, that the dreams are not from God, believe it or not. And he's going to talk about all that. That's his field. Let him deal with that. All right. So thank you to Your Lane sponsors: The Perfume Bar, John's Shoe Store and Accessories, Your Lane Life Coaching, Chef Boyardee Spaghetti, obviously delicious, secretly nutritious, distributed by Asa H. Pritchard, Hellman's Mayonnaise, Bring Out the Best, Make Taste, Not Waste, distributed by Asa H. Pritchard, and Libby's Vienna Sausages, distributed by Asa H. Pritchard. And to the businesses out there, if you wish to sponsor Your Lane Talk Show, please go ahead and call the number 376-8689. We have awesome packages to suit your budget. I promise you that you would definitely see a return on your investment. I want to thank Beats for holding it down as always. When Beats comes, he doesn't only just come to listen, he participates, and I love that about him. To Your Lane's continued listening audience and first-time listeners, thank you so much for tuning into the show. Please follow the page, Your Lane Life Coaching on Facebook to get all of the updates and goodies from the show. And you can also go to Coach Trish Hannah on YouTube to watch the previous shows. And when you do go on, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much to everyone once again. Happy Independence, Bahamas. That's what is the capital. I've been singing that today. All right. So thank you so much. And have a beautiful Sunday, everyone. God bless you. All right, we're still online. Facebook audience, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Yolanda. Thank you, Cynthia. Lucretia, yes, definitely need to go and get his book. Not only should you get his book, but listen to the replay. As you said before, you got to do it, man. I'm telling you, there are a lot of people who I'm going to share this live with, because we hear a lot of people saying that yes, they want to go ahead and get things accomplished, but it's always something. It's always an excuse. Yes, please.
Is that Kristen's wife?
Yes.
Oh, hi.
Yes, Krisha is Christian's wife. Yes, you could hail her. You want to hail her?
Hi. Tell Kristen I say hi.
All right. Okay, so we're gonna head out now. She put the little heart thing there. We're heading out now. So y'all didn't have any questions for Coach today? That's surprising. All right, so I guess y'all just taking it in. But like he said that you could reach him on Effective Living, right? LLC on Facebook.
Yep.
And you can look and view his YouTube posts and everything that's there. She said, "Hey, Beats." And then you can also go to his website. Can you share the website again? What's the website, Coach?
RicardoMiller.com.
RicardoMiller.com. So all of that and more. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask him on those various platforms. We're heading out, man. That's a good Sunday. We're gonna go continue our Effective Living, and we have to have a part 2. Not only are we going to get a part 2, we want to talk about parenting. That's vitally important, because what's a country if you're going to just neglect your children?
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
So it starts with them.
Yes.
I can run on with that, but let's go home. Let's go home, Coach Ricardo. You done home. I ain't home yet.
I know, right? Blessings to you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you too. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.